Hi everybody, welcome to today's Lunchtime Learn. My name is Ciara O'Sullivan. I play ladies football with Mourneabbey in Cork, and I played with Cork seniors for 16 years as well.
Hello everyone, my name is Roisin McCormick and I play for Lockyer Shamrocks and Antrim Senior Camogie, the Antrim Senior Camogie team. And today we're going to be talking about the impact of volunteering on us as players at club and county level.
So, Roisin, would you say that volunteers have had a big impact on your career to date? I suppose in club and at county level.
Yeah, no, massively. I suppose when you look at the GAA itself, like it's surrounded by volunteers. If you look at officials, referees, people doing the tuck shop, our photographers, but especially if in volunteering, it particularly stems within my family. Like from underage right through to senior, like my parents have been heavily involved in coaching. My mum's actually the Ulster president, the committee president at the moment. My dad's taken the Antrim senior camogie team. My uncle's the first aider for the Lucky Senior Hurlers.
Okay. Flat out, so
Yeah, like I'm surrounded by volunteers within my family and as well as the club and the county. So, if you walk down the road, there's a volunteer in front of you.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think for me it's the same in terms of it being family, and where I would have seen volunteers first would have been family. Like when I started playing, my mum was chairperson of the club here, and my dad and my uncle were our coaches. So I don't know, was it a bit of nepotism or what got me on the team, but that's where it started. And I think you often find that, particularly maybe in smaller clubs where it's a lot of, the same people that are involved in the committees and the coaching and all of that. And I definitely would have seen that in Mourneabbey and growing up, that it's like the amount of work those people do. And I think when you're starting playing, you think it's the norm if your family is so involved, that it's the case for everyone. And I suppose it's only as you get a bit older and play a bit more that you realize that isn't the case. But for me, definitely it would have started as well with family being volunteering and keeping that going all through the years.
Yeah, and I suppose with having family members involved, you're exposed to the amount of work that goes like on behind the
Definitely.
scenes and that goes unnoticed. And it's like the little things between the jerseys being washed for a match, like no one really thinks about a jersey being washed. You think about on match day throwing it on and taking it off again. But no,
Exactly, yeah.
it's them little things that have huge impact, on us as players, and like it's not recognised enough, I suppose.
I think so. And I think like it's very easy for people sometimes to, complain about X, Y, or Z, but until you, as you've said, you've seen the work that goes in and you've witnessed that, you kind of appreciate things, I think, a lot more as well. As you say, the jerseys, like I remember for our club All Ireland's there, we lost more than we won, but for the club All Ireland's there, you'd be training November, December, and like we used to have somebody come down every day, make us soup at the end of every training, and like that, obviously it's an amateur sport, it's a club where funds are tight, and this person, doing it out of their own back pocket, and but then feeling part of something and feeling part of, and I do think as a volunteer as well, there's that element of, you're giving up your time, but you're also part of something. And that's a great thing as well, to be part of a club, to be part of a county, and feel part of a team, I suppose. I think we all enjoy that, whether you're the person playing midfield or you're, as you say, the stats person or whatever. So there is that sense of belonging that comes with volunteering as well, that I think is important. But I know, like right from the start, there's this woman at home. Well, she's not even at home because she's from a different club. But when we were Cork underage, she would have been with a different club, as I say, but she was a selector on the team, and she would have collected me and my sister every Wednesday and Friday for training, brought us to training, and it's when you're years later and you're retired and you're kind of reflecting on your career, and that it's people like that you remember and you think, God, I probably wouldn't have got to where I was without their help. So I think I'm retired now, obviously, so looking back with hindsight, but those kind of people and the impact they've had, I think are huge. And I think that's the same for everyone all around the county who's been lucky enough to play with their county.
Yeah, it's really them unselfless hours that volunteers do put in, to their day or to their evenings. I suppose they could have a lot better things to be doing, but you know, like in our All Ireland series there, before Christmas, the mummies of the team were coming down and making us the likes of sitting sandwiches or curry, whatever, after training sessions. Do you know, in them dark evenings where the last thing you probably want to do is be out of the house. But like it's them unselfish hours that are going in, you know, to make sure we have a bit of food after our match and or after our training sessions or matches, and you know, we're best prepared going into the championship, because at the end of the day, like they're massive supporters of the club and the community and the parish, that they're willing to sacrifice, you know, their evenings to come out and put in the effort for us girls. But like even, you know, touching on the jerseys there, you know, every day you'd be going like out to training or to school or to work or whatever. The road I live on is actually the road Anne Marie Boyle lives on, and you know, like she deserves a mention here because she has washed every single jersey in the club for I don't know how long, like how many years now. But so you'd always
Such a
be driving,
thankless job. Yeah.
and you'd always be driving to training or wherever it is you're going, and she has like the jerseys you were wearing last night out fresh, washed and hung up on the line by the next morning, you know, and like it's little things like that that really do add up and, you know, that do go unnoticed. But it's always just really nice, especially in championship season, both sets of jerseys, you know, hanging up and like blowing in the wind, you know, like and the sun shining. It's just, you know, it's you're so appreciative of it at the moment, like. But no, it's
Do you
amazing.
think like when you finish playing and that, would you think you get involved in volunteering yourself? And obviously, as you say, it's in your family. Would it be something you'd think of doing, getting back in either coaching or administration or
Yeah, I suppose, you know, like my whole life revolves around the GA, especially in Lockheed. Like it's the only thing you can really do there. Do you know,
yeah,
there's a hurling pitch, there's the chapel, and there's the road out of it. But when I suppose, like obviously not speaking from experience, but when you're that involved at it at such a young age and it takes up so much of your life, I think like come retirement, like it'll really hit me hard, you know, not being involved with the team and
it
stuff. So
does. It
I
does. I can
yeah,
yeah, it does.
so I suppose like there'll be some way that I'll get involved. But you know, like even when I'm not training or have a match, like or if there's another match, even underage or the hurlers on at the weekends, you know, you always try to do something to help out at the club,
Yeah.
you know, because it is your community.
Yeah, no, definitely. And yeah, it does. You kind of when you retire, you kind of need a void to fill, I suppose, for want of a better word. But like I think a lot of people assume when you're a player that, you know, your natural progression would be into maybe coaching when you retire or whatever and giving back in that sense. But I know for me, like I right now anyway, coaching wouldn't be something I'd be interested in because I need to mellow and calm down a small bit before again coaching. I too hot-headed on the line. Like I when I was growing up, I have an older sister and two younger sisters, but when my two younger sisters would be playing, like they'd be playing in O'Connor Cup at UCC or they'd be playing with the Cork Miners or whatever, and I'd never like finish watching the match. Like I'd have left before the match finished because I just couldn't cope with the nerves. So I'll have to give it a while before coaching. But like I am involved in the club as treasurer, and I think for me, having been a player for so long, kind of seeing the real like level of work that goes on in those committees and the fundraising and all that needs to be done. Like I think you really appreciate it. And I think it just kind of highlights, you know, I'm saying coaching isn't for me for now. There's always a role for people and for somebody, you know, if it isn't coaching, it's administration, it's refereeing, you know, stats, everything. So I think that's the beauty of the GA and the ladies associations, that there is something for everyone. And I think I've definitely seen that throughout the years. And I think the fundraising in particular, probably those volunteers are a lot of the unsung heroes as well, because you know if you're in a club or county that's lucky enough to be successful, that comes at a cost financially, and to have people that are willing to, you know, do the fundraising. Like when we've had those Club All Irelands, we've had a fundraising committee that like the minute the final whistle went on the semi-final and we knew we were through, they got into action, and like just unbelievable. And I think maybe at times we don't, you know, thank those people enough and recognize them. But I think that's the purpose of this week, is to acknowledge all their work.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like even the way, like if you look at fundraising, you know, like we're trying to raise money at the minute for county, for, you know, going into our All Ireland series here coming up, and like the amount of work that's going on, you know, behind the scenes with Una Kelly and Angela Boyle is immense. Like we have a night at the races this weekend, and we're trying to sell horses and create a whole event. I was out in the car with Angela Boyle the other day, and she was just telling me the amount of work and hours that she's putting in, you know, to make sure it's the most perfect night. And you know, it's like, as you were saying, it's the unsung heroes. You know, like people kind of forget how much work goes on behind the scenes. And you know, I'm really, really glad that we're able to have this initiative and kind of recognize the volunteers within our communities, you know, that put in all the hard work, hard hours and the hard work, but they just don't get recognized enough for it.